Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to From Kitchen to C-Suite. I am your host, Don. For an extended period, sustainability has been primarily categorized within the marketing department, serving as an affirmative narrative for the annual corporate report, a promotional brochure element, or merely a decorative symbol adjacent to a menu item. It was widely perceived as a financial premium or a voluntary cost center, primarily influenced by consumer sentiment or corporate social responsibility mandates. However, as we progress through 2026, the operational paradigm has fundamentally and irrevocably shifted. The environment governing the food service and hospitality sectors is now characterized by systemic volatility, specifically, unpredictable climate shifts creating variable yields, fluctuating geopolitical landscapes disrupting essential logistics, and dynamic regulatory environments imposing novel carbon tariffs and mandatory reporting standards. If the assessment of sustainable sourcing remains confined to a cost center, a philanthropic endeavor, or simply a brand differentiator, one risks overlooking the most substantial and critical defensive strategy for the profit and loss P&L statement. Today's discussion centers on the invisible ROI. This concept transcends the easily quantifiable metrics, such as a, quote, sales lift attributed to green initiatives. Instead, it represents the strategic, unquantified value that is not registered as a direct revenue increase, but is essential for corporate stability. It is the substantial, though not explicitly tracked, cost avoidance achieved by structurally insulating the business from systemic market risks. In this contemporary operating era, sustainability is no longer solely about, quote, ethical conduct. It constitutes an ironclad mechanism for margin protection and operational continuity. The three pillars of invisible ROI. Supply chain resilience and continuity. When a major global coffee or cocoa harvest is compromised by a catastrophic weather event, organizations reliant on undiversified, monocrop, traditional supply chains face immediate, substantial price escalation and, critically, outright shortages. Conversely, entities employing diversified, regenerative, and locally/regionally focused sourcing, the sustainable businesses, maintain access and predictable pricing structures. Their cost of goods sold, COGS, remains stable, while competitors' margins are severely eroded. The invisible ROI in this context is the avoidance of scarcity costs and price volatility. Regulatory and future-proofing capital. Carbon pricing mechanisms, extended producer responsibility, EPR legislation, and mandatory environmental, social, and governance, ESG reporting, are not prospective threats. They are current realities becoming more stringent across global markets. Businesses that proactively integrate sustainable, low-carbon sourcing methodologies are establishing immediate compliance. This strategy obviates the future necessity for expensive, mandated retrofitting, eliminates massive compliance penalties, and reduces the administrative burden of reactive legislative adherence. The invisible ROI is the avoidance of regulatory friction and non-compliance fines. Talent and consumer defensibility. The contemporary workforce and the discerning customer base, particularly the significant purchasing power of Generation Z and Millennials, no longer regard sustainability as a discretionary advantage. They view it as a foundational operational standard. Corporations with verifiable, ethical, and sustainable supply chains demonstrably attract and retain superior talent, thereby lowering recruitment and turnover expenditure, and gain preference from high-value consumer segments. The invisible ROI is the premium maintained on human capital and the defense against brand erosion and consumer boycotts. Sustainable sourcing functions as the strategic mechanism that insulates the brand from the subsequent commodity price spike, mitigates climate-driven financial risk, and ensures that executive leadership is not merely reacting to market conditions but is skillfully preempting them. This transition reclassifies sustainability from a marketing expense to a finance and operations imperative. Joining me today is a guest who has proficiently transformed ethical sourcing mandates into a robust balance sheet and a definitive competitive operational advantage. We will meticulously analyze how to cease focusing on short-term gains and commence constructing long-term, unshakable resilience. Let us commence the discussion. As the hospitality sector contends with the convergence of elevated labor expenditures, persistent supply chain inflation, and widespread consumer check fatigue, a potent, though frequently unquantified strategic asset has emerged for financial stability: sustainable sourcing. Historically, this operational choice was often marginalized by chief financial officers as a marketing amenity, a discretionary expenditure, or solely a public relations cost center. However, comprehensive financial metrics from the first quarter of 2026 decisively reposition sustainability from a menu attribute to a balance sheet imperative. Leading industry financial analysts now characterize this transformation as the invisible ROI, a critical amalgamation of multifaceted financial advantages and substantive risk mitigation benefits. These gains may not manifest as discrete line items, yet they demonstrably safeguard profit margins and stabilize profitable, forward-thinking restaurant enterprises within a high-volatility economic climate. The human capital dividend, purpose as a value proposition and cultural cornerstone. In 2026, the preeminent threat to restaurant profitability remains the missing middle crisis, a systemic deficit of experienced, reliable mid-level personnel, e.g., sous chefs, floor managers, lead cooks. With 77% of operators reporting active challenges in the recruitment and retention of skilled talent, sustainability has transcended its environmental mandate to become a foundational tool for both hiring and, critically, retention. The psychological contract. For the contemporary workforce, the conventional transactional relationship, a wage in exchange for hours worked, is insufficient. Environmental, social, and governance, ESG practices, now constitute a vital component of the psychological paycheck. Recent polling indicates that a significant 83% of millennials and Gen Z employees, the demographic nucleus of the 2026 workforce, report markedly greater loyalty, engagement, and professional fulfillment when their employers uphold transparent, verifiable environmental and ethical operating protocols. The quantitative financial impact. For a representative mid-sized casual dining organization, the direct cost associated with employee turnover, inclusive of recruitment fees, training hours, and diminished productivity during the onboarding phase, averages $7,000 per staff member. By successfully employing a, quote, purpose-driven culture, undergirded by sustainable sourcing, to reduce annualized staff attrition by merely 10%, such an organization realizes an estimated annual saving of $84,000. In the prevailing labor market, a certified green operation frequently serves as a more effective, long-term mechanism for retaining a skilled sous chef or line manager than a temporary signing bonus. The culture of shared purpose functions as a continuous incentive. The global trade landscape of 2026 is characterized by multi-decade peaks in geopolitical tariffs, unpredictable climate-related disruptions, such as droughts and floods, and sustained labor shortages within port and logistics infrastructures. In this environment, the local-first sourcing paradigm has evolved from a simple ethical preference into a sophisticated, indispensable risk management strategy. Proactive resilience operators are no longer reacting to disruptions, they are anticipating them. Enterprises utilizing agentic AI systems to continuously analyze hyperlocal agricultural and logistics networks have reported reducing critical ingredient lead times by an average of 25%. By strategically procuring resources closer to the point of consumption, restaurants effectively circumvent the high-cost border friction, extended customs processing, and escalating international freight surcharges that have severely amplified the cost of imported commodities this year. This localized resilience ensures menu consistency and mitigates the need for expensive, last-minute substitutions. Resource efficiency as a profit driver. The transition to sustainable sourcing necessitates a meticulous review of all operational inputs. This scrutiny has stimulated the creation of highly profitable waste-to-flavor initiatives. These programs upcycle high-quality kitchen byproducts, such as vegetable trimmings, spent grains, or unused protein components, into value-added, house-made ingredients, including fermented preparations, koji, misos, proprietary vinegars, or rich stocks. This innovative methodology has demonstrated a return on investment of up to $7 for every $1 invested in reducing food waste expenses, thereby converting a significant cost center into a margin-preserving asset. In 2026, sustainability is no longer a non-essential, philanthropic commitment solely for the environment. It is fundamentally intertwined with the survival of the profit and loss statement, asserts Brad Perez, a prominent hospitality consultant specializing in operational efficiency. The enterprises that are quietly achieving success today, those exhibiting unexpected financial stability, are performing the essential, foundational work. They are executing this strategy not merely for the environmental certification displayed in the window, but for the inherent, stabilizing commercial benefits, the assured reliability of their supply chain, and the profound, enduring pride and retention of their workforce. As the industry strategically prepares for the intensified competition of the summer trading period, the compelling empirical evidence of the invisible ROI confirms that within an unyielding, high-cost operating environment, the most enduringly sustainable business model is, quite literally, one that is sustainable. The 2026 consumer is arguably more price-sensitive and value-focused than at any point in the preceding decade. However, their search is not merely for the lowest absolute price. They are seeking a refined metric: nutrition per dollar. The modern patron assesses ingredient quality, health attributes, and ethical transparency as integral components of perceived value. The premium sustained, contrary to economic forecasting that inflation would compel consumer trade down. The demand for ethically sourced commodities remains strong. Despite widespread inflationary pressures, data indicates that over 80% of consumers across diverse demographics are willing to pay a measurable price premium, averaging 9.7%, for products that are demonstrably and transparently sustainably sourced. This willingness to pay for quality insulates these menu items from the deepest manifestations of consumer price sensitivity. The health and ethical hedging diners are increasingly viewing "clean label," minimally processed, and fiber-rich sustainable meals not as an extravagance, but as a proactive investment in their personal long-term wellness. This perception renders sustainable dishes, which are frequently anchored in plant-forward or locally sourced whole foods, significantly more inflation-proof than conventional processed comfort items or standard burgers, which are being subjected to heightened scrutiny for both cost and underlying health implications. Sustainable sourcing in 2026 has moved beyond a public relations talking point, or a perfunctory checklist item for your annual environmental, social, and governance (ESG) report. It is, fundamentally, margin insurance, a strategic financial imperative that actively shields your business from the relentless volatility of the modern global economy. The true value, or invisible ROI, of this strategy becomes undeniable the moment disruption strikes. As supply chains face increasing fragility due to geopolitical upheaval and climate-driven catastrophes, from crop-destroying floods to power-crippling droughts, resilience is now your most crucial asset. While less prepared competitors suffer catastrophic shortages, scramble for limited, high-cost spot market supply, and are forced to absorb and pass on unpredictable costs, your proactive investment in verified, ethical, and localized partnerships keeps your operations stable. Your restaurant continues to serve, your menu pricing remains predictable, and customer trust is preserved. By protecting your source, ensuring the long-term viability, ethical labor, and environmental health of your primary producers, you are not merely doing good, you are locking in predictability and safeguarding your bottom line against an increasingly chaotic external environment. This transition from transactional purchasing to strategic partnership is the definitive characteristic of modern, successful procurement. I'm Don, and this has been From Kitchen to C-Suite. Our ongoing mission is to bridge the tactical realities of the back of house with executive-level strategic thinking. If today's discussion has shifted your perspective on procurement, viewing sustainability not as a cost center, but as a core pillar of risk management and competitive advantage, please share this episode immediately with a colleague still operating under the outdated cheapest price wins model. To immediately begin building a more resilient supply chain, subscribe and follow. Ensure you never miss a P&L impacting insight by subscribing on your preferred platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Download the 2026 Resilience Checklist. Access the comprehensive 2026 Resilience Checklist in the show notes. This actionable tool is designed to help you instantly audit your supply chain's vulnerabilities and strengths, and develop a phased mitigation strategy. Thank you for tuning in and committing to the long-term health of your business. Keep the stoves hot, the margins tight through smart, resilient strategy, and the vision long. We'll see you for the next episode. This podcast is made possible by the generous commitment of our sponsors. We extend a special thank you to HRB Universal for their dedication to providing comprehensive resources and promoting excellence across the culinary and hospitality industries. We also recognize the Plate and Pour Collective Equity Partner Program. This initiative exemplifies a genuine commitment to fostering shared success and equitable growth within the food and beverage sector, helping entrepreneurs build a more inclusive and thriving future. The journey to the C-suite is fueled by innovation, relentless dedication, and the right network. We encourage you to engage with the resources and support offered by our sponsors. For connection details, visit hrbuni.com or simply search HRB Universal in your favorite search engine. We look forward to having you join us for our next episode of From Kitchen to C-Suite, where we continue to explore captivating topics designed to elevate your career and entrepreneurial drive. You can catch a new episode each week at Headphone Listen on the Go. Subscribe and listen via Riverside at fromkitchentalkssuite.riverside.com or our website, hrbuni.com. You can also find us by searching on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, or Deezer, or wherever you get your daily audio fix. TV watch on the big screen. Level up your experience by watching the From Kitchen to C-Suite podcast on the HRB TV network. Pro tip: if you use Roku or Fire TV, simply search for HRB TV network to stream directly from your living room. Until our next broadcast, continue to innovate and strive for superior achievement.